All right, guys, so back in March when we started with the beach prep theme. We were going to do that for 3 months, build some big chesticle, work on that butt. Unfortunately, that got cut short. Still, we want you guys to work on the same thing, so we're going to start with the push-up progressions. We're going to start all the way from complete beginner level, all the way to one-arm push-ups, so you will be sure that over the next few months you can still work on strong chest, arms, even work your abs at the same time. So I'm going to take you through 7 progressions in total, and we're going to start with the easiest one. Marloes here is going to help me with the wall push-up. If you have trouble with push-ups or you want to start light, what you're going to do is simply a push-up against the wall. So you put your hands against the wall, roughly shoulder width, maybe slightly wider, body completely straight like a plank, and you get your nose as close to the wall as you can without actually hurting yourself. It's a very good motivation to keep the movement controlled and tight. That's basically all there is to it. I quit. In the PDF you will find a bunch of guidelines, a bunch of rules about how many reps and so you should do. Once you can actually manage to do those reps that are your target, your goal for the wall push-up, you can move on to the incline push-up. For the incline push-up you can use a bench, a chair, ideally something that's a bit stable, one so you don't fall over, but also you don't want to do it on pillows because of the wrist. So ideally if you have like a lower table or something, you can do your incline push-up there. It's basically the exact same, hands roughly shoulder width, maybe slightly wider, body like a plank, and you're going to touch your torso to the table, bench, whatever you're using. All right, beautiful. That's it, and rest. So that's going to be the incline push-up. Now there's several ways of progressing. You can start with a high incline push-up, and once you graduate it, you're going to go to a lower incline push-up. That is 100% okay. But the alternative, once you've gotten to a lower incline push-up and you feel like, well, incline push-up's easy, normal push-up's too hard, there is a way in between. Then you're going to go to a half range of motion push-up. So you need something like a stack of pillows or a stack of books, or like we have ab mats, or a stack of basically anything that makes it just challenging enough for you. So Marloes is going to show us a few push-ups, but we're going to a specific height. So in this case, she's going to touch her torso to the ab mat. If that's too easy, the next progression would just be a lower stack of whatever you're using, and she's going to do the same thing. That's it. So normally we're always very strict about touching your chest to the floor. The reason is because you never really know how deep you went if you never touch the floor. By actually putting a stack of whatever under your torso, you will know exactly how far you should go every rep, and you can make it more challenging over time. So here's another way to go from incline push-up to push-up. The last one, for a lot of people, is going to be the push-up, which is sort of like a base goal for a lot of people who do CrossFit or just want all-around strength. Regular push-up, same principles as before, body like a plank, hands roughly shoulder width or slightly wider, and that's it. Thank you. So that's the regular push-up. From there you have 2 options. One is you're going to do weighted push-ups. If you're going to do weighted push-ups, it's very simple. You do a number of sets and reps, again, check the PDF, and every time you do the push-ups, you're going to go a bit heavier. Simple. Now, a lot of people cannot actually add weight every single time. For example, if you're at home and you have plates that you can put on your back, that's great. If you have something like a weighted vest or something, great. But for a lot of people, it's hard to add weight every single time. So there's an alternative. We're going to work up to the one-armed push-up. So for a one-armed push-up, what we're going to do, first, grab something like this, a plate or a low elevation. What you're using doesn't really matter that much, just make sure it's a low elevation. Could be a stack of books or even just a single book. What Marloes is going to do is she's going to go in a push-up position again. She's going to put her feet very wide. If you think you're wide enough, you're probably not. Make sure your feet are wide. Her hands are a bit wider than normally. Now she's going to make a push-up towards her left arm. That's like the lower arm. More, and that's it. So the principles are still the same. We still want the torso to be straight. We don't want the elbow to be somewhat close-ish to the body. Never go there. Always keep it around here. What happens now is she's going to be loading one arm more than the other, and she's already practicing her balance for a one-arm push-up. How do you progress this? Basically, that stack you're using, the book or the plate, needs to get higher and higher and or further away from you. Because if I make a one-arm push-up like this, it's pretty doable. If my other hand is all the way there, it gets super heavy. And that's how you want to build up towards the one-arm push-up. Another example, which is the same principle. She now has her hand on an elevation, fairly far away from her. She worked with the right arm this time. And now she can get very little support from her left hand. So she's doing a super heavy, almost one-arm push-up. And rest. Awesome. That's what you're going to work towards. And over time, that stack is going to be higher, farther away. Maybe instead of using your whole hand, you're going to be using 2 fingers to press away. If you can do that for a bunch of reps, you're probably ready for your first one-armed push-up. If you can do 10 one-arm push-ups on each side, ask a private coach, because then you're already super strong and maybe you should probably focus your energy on something else. We have a bonus thing. If you want to do something besides all this, there's an exercise we used to do in strength class, which is part of calisthenics in general. Also part of gymnastics, by the way, and you have some yoga poses that are a lot like it. We're going to go to a frog stance. What does this do? It teaches you static strength. It teaches you to maintain tension on the whole body. It also helps as a progression towards the handstand. So for those that do not want to stand on their heads at home, for those that need to build some basic strength, but also some all-around body control, there is the frog stance. What Melusa's going to do is put her hands roughly shoulder width. Fingers are pointing forwards or slightly outwards. That's personal preference. She's going to put her knees outside the elbows. And she's going to slowly lean forward and hold this for a lot of seconds. And relax. Now you might want to put something like a pillow in front of you, so just in case you fall over, you don't actually smack your head face first into the floor. You want to hold that for a bunch of seconds in as few sets as possible. Again, check the PDF. Once you can do this for a full minute without toppling, then you should probably ask a private coach or me for the next progression, because then you're already doing really well in this particular exercise. So there we have a whole list of push-up progressions, from the wall push-up all the way to the one-arm push-up. It's up to you to find your proper progression, the proper stage in the whole thing, and then work hard from there 2 to 3 times a week. And then hopefully at some point you will get your first push-up or even your first one-armed push-up. Good luck, guys.